Hello everybody and welcome to pilot episode of new series with temporary name Build Ladder. Here we are gonna be testing characters with different amount of time investment from just one day all the way to over a year. And the star of today's episode is Xiangling. Let's see how much time it takes to satisfy your needs. For consistency team we are gonna be using is Xiangling, Kazuha and Bennett, since that's the basis for most of her teams. As weapon available to everybody we'll be using Catch and checking performance separately in Overworld and Abyss. So without further ado, let's jump straight into it. Here is what I was able to get in just one day of farming. Priority was to get enough ER to burst every rotation, so I had to sacrifice a lot of stats. At this point, even getting main stats was a problem, and this is the result of my best efforts. As you can see, I can't even make proper 4-piece set, so I'm running 2-piece Shimenawa, 2-piece Emblem instead. Half of my pieces are 4 stars, although I did get pretty lucky with substats. Suns, Goblet and Circuit are all attack percent, which is pretty bad considering we play with Bennett. All in all, we have pretty high attack, surprisingly decent ER, and a bunch of EM that doesn't really matter in our tests. Okay, so let's finally see the damage. As our punching bag in Overworld, I chose Cryo Regisvine that has almost 200,000 HP in total. Because of Bennett in the team, we don't deal that little damage, but still way more than I expected. 8,000 without crit and almost 15 with. Surprisingly, it wasn't even a challenge and we overkill it by a lot. I guess we'll have to run Abyss test from the very beginning. In Abyss, we are gonna be testing floor 12 first half of first chamber. To save you some time, I'll skip straight to the end and tell you that this team clears first half in about 3 minutes. Obviously, Kazuha's damage helped a bit, but most of it was dealt by Xiangling. By no means that's impressive result, but what did you expect? That's only first day. Let me show you how it progresses further. Next is 1 week. This time I was able to get most of main stats, full emblem and better substats here and there. I gained a lot of crit rate and crit damage over last build, but I did lose 20 energy recharge. I desperately needed ER Suns and crit rate Circlet, but since I got neither I opted to use attack Suns and 4-star Circlet. I'd guess that's still not good enough, but let's see if that at least works better than previous one. On Regisvine we are still dealing 8,000 damage without crit since attack didn't really change. On the other hand, crit is now 18,000 and we are supposed to be critting way more often. Again, Regisvine dies way too quickly, so let's see how it performs on Abyss. In my case, lack of ER didn't hurt me that much, but in real team it can easily lose you several seconds every rotation. I had to restart a couple of times, but in the end my clear took 2 minutes and 10 seconds, which is 30% faster than day 1. But it is still pretty slow, so we continue the grind. Now it's time for 1 month worth of farming. That's close to what I usually spend on one character, so I have pretty high expectations. From the stats you can see that's about usual Xiangling you can find everywhere, maybe even a little below average. At first stats may seem similar to last one, but now I have Pyra Goblet. I found upgrades to pretty much every single piece, although Goblet and Circuit are still pretty bad. So let's see how much damage we deal now. Again using Regisvine to see damage numbers clearly. Now we deal over 10,000 without crit and almost 22 when critting. We also have over 60% crit rate, which allows us to demolish Regisvine in just 4 seconds. Want just to remind you that this thing has almost 200,000 HP. But let's check if there is any improvement in Abyss. This time I had plenty energy recharge, so piloting was a lot easier. It also definitely seemed way more like usual team damage wise. Can't deny I did get a bit lucky since Fatui agents barely attacked me, but if they don't one-shot me I'm fine anyway. In the end it took just 1 minute and 40 seconds, which is hella impressive for mono element team with 3 characters. This is already more than good enough to clear Abyss with proper team, but let's just push it a step further. Finally, this is the pinnacle of my builds after a year of farming. Ideally I'd use Homa and Energy Charge Sands, but for consistency we are gonna keep Catch. This is one of the best builds on my account, but to be honest I'm not too sure if it was worth it. Each piece here is of an amazing quality, which is way above my normal standards, but of course as usual Goblet and Circuit are pretty mediocre. Well, hopefully it was worth it. Poor Regisvine will be our punching bag for one last time. Non-crit still deals about 10,500 damage, but crit skyrocketed to almost 30,000. Crit rate barely changed, so frequency of crits is about the same. This time Regisvine falls in just 3 swings, so let's move on to Abyss. Truth be told, I didn't feel that big of a difference, but worth mentioning this Abyss was pretty challenging, so there was a lot of room for human error. First wave also has Pyro Mage in it, which slows down fast clears. With all that in mind, I cleared first half in just minute 25. 15 seconds difference doesn't seem that impressive, taking in consideration it took a whole year. Let's now conclude results of our small experiment. As a baseline, we are gonna take day 1 build and compare others to it. 2 metrics we are most curious about are average damage per swing, which takes in consideration crit rate rate, and time to clear one chamber of abyss. All results summed up you can see right here, and let me comment a little bit on it. As you can see, similar improvement takes exponentially more time to achieve the more you invest. Generally, improvement in personal damage resulted in similar improvement in abyss, small variance because of human factor. Day 1 was only enough to get 2 stars, and even with main DPS probably wouldn't be enough. 1 week was actually doing pretty well. 2 minutes is very good clear time, especially if you have decent second team, since other half was way easier. If you wanna go low investment and speedrun abyss, 1 week for Xiangling is probably gonna be enough. 1 month's performance was amazing, it was almost enough to full clear abyss even without a DPS. Generally, I think it should be enough for any abyss, unless there is something pyro resistant. And 1 year was very fascinating, but mostly useless and of course took way more time. Although not gonna lie, it's satisfying when Xiangling as solo DPS can full clear abyss. Overall, I would say stick to 1 month of farming if you need a lot of power, or if you are in a rush, 1 week may suffice. And that was it. Whatever you need Xiangling for, now you know what you can expect spending certain amount of time. This was pretty interesting experiment that I learned quite a bit from, and I hope you did too. Let me know in the comments what you think about this type of content, and maybe who would you like to see next time. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a great day.